Okay, hello everyone. I am Haylie Arb and this is Lori. I am a psychic medium, evidential medium, and Lori reads faces and does handwriting analysis. And so today we are going to be looking into the Jonbenet Ramsey case, infamous case from the 90s, very tragic and very sad. I am going to be connecting with Jonbenet. What's interesting is she's actually been, knowing that we were going to do this, she's been kind of connecting with me throughout the week as I've watched some documentaries. I haven't delved super deep into the case because I really wanted it to be fresh from the other side and see what spirit has to bring through. So Lori's going to be reading some of the possible suspects in the case, reading the faces of John and Patsy, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, and also a couple of like the kind of creepier suspects that might be there. I'm going to get as much information as I can. I'm interested to see, I might be getting information that doesn't pertain to the actual case, but maybe the family will understand it. Honestly, this is just for entertainment purposes, but if it can help at all, of course, that would mean the world to me. You know, I have nothing to lose by connecting to them and putting this out there into the world. So hopefully if Jonbenet's family ever happens to see this, I hope that the messages are helpful and bring some kind of healing or peace. I'm sure that the authorities or the people investigating this have contacted a medium before. I don't know if that's true, but it would be my guess that they have. I mean, how could you not? Like, I don't think that they can really use that in an actual trial or anything, but it would make sense to me that you would contact like the other side with cold case, cold case.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, what I do is connect to spirit. So I might be getting, when I get names, it might be different family members that are connected to the Ramseys. I'm not sure, but I'll just get whatever I can. As always, no holding back. This is just going to be fun for us to connect and see what we get. And hopefully any information is helpful. But of course, anything I say is not always set in stone. Of course, there's free will. Of course, things could be coming through a little bit differently than fact. So anything to add, Lori, before we get into it?
No, I'm really excited to see this. I have so many questions, and Haylie gets answers that I can't get because I'm reading faces and reading symbols. We're all just a mashup of different symbols in our faces, in our handwriting, and so it just comes down to like what are the symbols? How is this person's face constructed? And so we'll get some peeks into their character, and
yeah, it's gonna be great. When we combine our powers, it like brings up some cool stuff. So this is going to be really interesting to see what I get for this particular case and what Lori picks up on as well. So let's go ahead. I'm going to bring up the screen we have here for Jonbenet, just so you guys can kind of stay on track. Okay. So here we have little cutie pie. Now, Jonbenet is just such a beautiful, just a loving, like sweetheart, outgoing kind of personality. I actually chose these pictures in particular because Patsy is also in spirit on the other side. And the world knows Jonbenet as a pageant queen, but really at her heart and soul, she's just, this sweetheart little girl, just like anybody. And so let me just bring her in. She's been here kind of waiting. She already told me that she was here and ready to give through any information she could. So I'm just going to ask and see what she might want her family to know, what information she can give me about the case. Okay. Now, right off the bat, she's actually giving me a random name. I feel like I'm hearing Timothy or Tim, and I have no idea where that belongs. This feels like a family member's name. I told you this might happen where she's giving me names. It almost feels like she's in spirit with somebody. Somebody has the name Tim. But let me ask her, and I'm also going to bring through Patsy at the same time. So they're definitely telling me that they are in spirit with their loved ones, that they were met there and joined. Honestly, it feels like a beautiful reunion when Patsy passed, to be welcomed to the other side by Jonbenet. And they're almost like, I believe in multiple soulmates, even with friend, like Lori is one of my soulmate friends, and I believe in soulmates here on earth. It can be our children, can be our mothers, can be friends, and they have that kind of connection to each other on the other side. I mean, they're just joined together. It's very, very loving. So let's just see what they want me to know. Okay. I am seeing feels like a special ring that was like a gift to somebody, possibly from Patsy to Jonbenet, a special ring that was in the family. Just feels like a special, they're showing me this ring for some reason. Might have been, it has like a stone in it as well, a little stone. Okay. Now. Okay. It's interesting because I feel like both of their energy is quite outgoing. Like they're both kind of talking fast too, and they're pretty animated. And Patsy's very expressive with her face. Like when she's talking to me, as she's communicating, her face is very expressive. She's expressive in her mannerisms. And there's definitely this like high class about their whole family. I feel like how they appear to others seems very important. And I don't think that Patsy would have like left the house not feeling put together. She feels like it was important how she presented herself to the world. And yeah, they just feel like classy people. I think that they were very, very different when they were in their little family unit behind closed doors than what we all know of them, because that's what I'm seeing, kind of an inside look into, which you can't really get that inside look behind closed doors with anything unless you are psychic. So this is kind of a sweet look I'm just getting into their like bond and their personal moments that feel just raw and just like normal family, loving, regular moments. There's even something coming through about like I don't know if it's a cheese sandwich or just like those regular little quirks and things that we have about ourselves. So I'm seeing something with that, like liking the bread to be a certain way on the sandwiches, it's little normal things about them. So pretty quickly, there was a lot of people for a long time that thought the family did this or was involved, and I'm not getting that feeling at all. It was just a tragedy, really. Okay, so I'm just asking them to get more into the actual case itself and show me anything that they can. And I've been seeing this as I turn on the documentaries and things, like they communicate with me and show me. I keep seeing, feels very 90s, a man with a ball cap on, just like a basic kind of hat. And one of those jackets that's like a, it's a cotton more material, but it could be like a denim, but it's in the shape of like those sports kind of jackets, like a bomber, not a bomber, but with the collars that guys wore in the 90s. Do you know what I'm talking about? Yeah. With like, they have like they're tighter right here and then a little bit kind of puffier. Yeah, it's like that kind of jacket. I see him wearing that, walking in with his hands in his pocket. And he definitely feels like he is on a mission, like he had this planned to do this. So I'm just going to tune in. The money aspect of this case, of course, we know there was a ransom note that was left that was very bizarre. And there was a money situation connected to that. Now that feels like this whole thing was actually about money, is how it feels to me. I that might actually be true with the ransom letter, how they are requesting money. That actually feels like the reason why this all happened. Like the purpose of this, maybe it was a supposed kidnapping that went wrong. It really feels like it had to do with just a money thing that went wrong. So let me see. Another interesting fact that I'm seeing is we know that Jonbenet was found like early in the morning. When I see this intruder, outsider coming into the home, it is daytime. So it is not at night. Like I know that a lot of people thought it might have been at nighttime. And so the information I'm receiving with this is that whoever this was possibly in the house for a long period of time, longer than just when this murder occurred. And I don't think it was his first time to the house. So I see him being there more than once. I'm also seeing him, there's a connection to the dad. Not like the dad knew him. Well, maybe he did, but not like he had any idea he would do this. But it feels like somehow this person may have known John as well. It's like, to me, the motive or whatever it is, it feels like money, business, something. So let me just tune in a little bit more. So when I ask them specifically a name, I keep hearing like Rick, Richard, Ricky. I keep hearing an R name. Of course, we don't know like the private details, if there's a kind of suspect list or something, but I'm hearing a name like Ricky. And the person that I'm seeing do this has short hair, kind of sandy blonde actually. And he's a Caucasian male who would not be that old. I feel like maybe, let me just see, let me ask. In his 30s. And they're also telling me, I feel like this is somebody who may have been like a seasoned criminal. Like this wasn't his first time committing a crime. He may have even had a record for more minor things or been convicted and let out. Like it's something like that. Okay, now what else do we want to see? Patsy and Jonbenet are giving me this feeling that they did recognize, like that they knew who this person was beforehand. Like not that they like knew him, like not necessarily a family friend, but like they had seen him before, knew of him. Almost even makes me wonder if it was somebody like employed by John, like almost like a landscaper type thing. Maybe not like in his actual career, but more somebody that worked underneath him who knew of the family, like that they would see in passing, something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And what I get with the note situation, the note thing is so weird. It's actually interesting when I tune into this more. It almost feels like the person that did this was very mental. And the whole like we thing in the note, you know, the we this, the we that. I don't know that it actually belonged to any kind of organization or not. There is the one cult guy that we'll look into a little bit later that could be involved with that. But I also feel like the person that did this is like mental and like thinks that it's like schizophrenic type, like thinks that he's part of something that's not even real, you know, feels very like twisted and sick, obviously. So what other questions could I ask them specifically about this case to get any more information?
My mind is just, I'm like blown away because there are some key things that you've said that, because you and I go different directions when we kind of gear up for a case. And I've gone off and I've studied like body language experts and handwriting analysis, and then I've done my face readings and things like that. And it's so interesting because they're on that side of things. In the note, if you read through the whole note and really analyze the note, handwriting experts are saying it's not we. It's not a we, it's a single person.
Oh, yes, that's what I pick up on.
True. Yeah, that came through you. Yeah.
It's just like they're like psycho, like in their like are trying to make it sound like something it's not, like almost like a trick, but they're also crazy. So that's what I get with this. Okay, there is something else coming through. And this, again, I feel like a lot of the information that may come through, maybe for private sectors, family connections. I'm seeing an old car that like it backfires when you start it up. So I don't know if there's anybody they can remember from that time that has a car that like didn't fit in the neighborhood. It was like so out of place. A car, it's like a little Toyota sedan. And it's like, what is that called? Backfiring, when they like
Yeah.
go out the back, the exhaust, it's like that kind of thing. It's like this person drove a beater kind of car. So if by chance Jonbenet's family or John's watching this, or one of her older brothers, and can remember anybody with a car from that time, I feel like that person has more information. There's some kind of lead to that somehow. Let me see. Okay. Really interesting. Again, I don't know. This could be, again, another like private message, but I'm seeing a dog, something about a dog connection. Do you know if they had a dog?
I don't know.
I don't think they did, but it almost feels like there's a dog with them in spirit, or something about a dog that's coming through. It's a pretty small dog. I feel like it's got white and brown fur. So whatever that's worth. Let's just see here. Okay. Okay. Another interesting thing I'm seeing about the person that did this is they kept it in for a really long time. I actually feel there's some connection to somebody in prison. Somebody in prison may have more information about this. Now, this is kind of like, so we watched that. There's a documentary on Hulu that I just watched, and it has to do with that cult that we were talking about. And so if you guys are interested in that, there's a woman who also had a daughter in pageants who thought that her ex-husband may have had something to do with it. Now, when I watched that, what was really fascinating is I had Jonbenet's spirit standing next to me, and she had told me the initials of somebody's name, and I could see the man that did it. And then 2 minutes later on the screen are the initials of what she had just told me, but it was a female. And I'm like, wait, that doesn't line up. But it was the female in prison was talking about who she thought did this. And I was like, whoa. And I wasn't getting any super strong feelings with anybody except for this cult leader who, I don't know, it's interesting, but they thought that he wouldn't have maybe done the crime himself, but may have like organized it somehow. So that's all very interesting, those initials and everything. But anyway, just that I said that there's somebody like in prison that knows more, that kind of led me back to her because she's in prison. So that could be, it could be a lead. Now, I'm also seeing a moon, for whatever that's worth for the family, something about the moon specifically, like a full moon. Could be a name, but I'm hearing and I'm seeing a full moon. I don't know. Sometimes I don't know what the messages mean. I'm just a messenger from spirit. So I'm just, in general, I'm just going to see if there's anything else coming from Patsy or Jonbenet that they want anybody to know else about this case. It's really sweet. I actually just hear, we love you so much, and to keep fighting, keep going. And that's interesting because oftentimes when I connect to people that have unsolved cases or like insurance claims or something like that, I would say majority of the time, the people in spirit are like, don't worry about it. They're like, don't waste your time like going after this thing. They just want people to live their life and be happy on earth. And I feel actually like John has done a very good job, like, and their family's done a very good job of moving on. But they, from the other side, they are like, do not put this to rest. I actually do feel, if I'm seeing an outcome, I feel like there might be some new interesting information coming up in the next few years about this case that could, get it really close to having answers. I do actually see that. It could be from somebody in prison. So I do hope that this gets solved. This is just so sad and tragic because she was just beautiful, little energetic soul. And I feel like she was so popular, not just because she was, a beauty queen, but like with her friends, I feel like they all just thought she was amazing. And there's something about jewelry. I don't know if she liked to make jewelry or like beaded jewelry, but I keep seeing that, and maybe would make her friends or people like little bracelets and all this kind of stuff. She just feels very giving, and yeah, just amazing, just an amazing little soul that was gone too soon. And the hardships that came from her passing are just, oh, just too much to bear. Makes me really sad. But anyway, okay, so I'm going to let you see what you get. Do you want to use these pictures, Lori, or do you want to use ones you've got?
Yeah, just on this real quick before I pop into the ones that I have up. We were talking earlier, like, you know, well, are you going to do a face reading on Jonbenet? And it's like, if you look at her face, we talked about this earlier, she looks like a Disney princess.
Yeah.
It's like a little Disney princess, which means she was just a 6-year-old little Disney princess, just running around in her beautiful clothes, just wanting to be fancy, wanting to be like her mom. Just like a little Disney princess with all the aspirations a little girl has at 6 years old, and you can see it in her face, just those big eyes, a little button nose, a little bow mouth, all of those things. I mean, she really was just a beautiful little girl. So
yeah, she is. And I also am seeing even more to her when I actually just really look at the picture of her. I see she had like a little sportsy side too. So I feel like she had both sides to her, where she loved to be girly and dress up and sing and dance and like paint nails and all that stuff. But then I see her not being afraid to like hang out and get dirty. And I don't know if she played like t-ball or baseball or something, but I feel like I'm seeing that as well. She's just a cutie pie and sweetheart. And I feel like she also had this beautiful just need, like generosity, that she wanted everybody around her to be happy at all times. So she also wants to say, of course, that she really is at peace, even with her killer still like out there. She's at peace, and she's with so many loving family members. I feel like I'm seeing multiple grandparents that are watching, have been with her all this time, that welcomed her to the other side. And she's just safe there, and she's been watching over her family. And when they have felt her and had those nudges and felt those chills and felt those things, or thought of her when they hear a certain song, like that is her sending those messages and being with them. I also just have to bring this up too, maybe privately for the family, but I'm seeing coins, like specifically nickels. Actually, I'm seeing 5-cent nickels. I feel like she sends those, and maybe that's from Patsy, but there's somebody that's sending nickels on this side of the family for the Ramseys. So random little tidbit. But yeah, thanks, Laura. I'm gonna hand it over to you for a minute.
awesome. All right, I'm just gonna pull this up. Take just a second here. So this piece is just it's so messy.
It is.
It is just so messy. And you know, it was hard to find good pictures of Jonbenet, because we talked about this. She has been airbrushed, and and then older pictures are kind of fuzzy. I just thought this was interesting to take a look at how low her ears are. So low in this photo. And we can't read one feature and be like, okay, this one thing definitively means this, because we are a collection of different traits and stuff. And in face reading, sometimes in Chinese face reading, they start getting into like divination and stuff. And in that part of face reading, ears that are this low would be indicative of a short life, which is, I find that interesting.
That is,
yeah, it's interesting. I would have to see a better photo to really look up close at her and see if I saw any other signs of that. But low ears are a sign of that. She just had a ton of energy, and probably loved singing. Usually when ears kind of stick out like this, it's people that love to hear their own voice or play music. So I just see her kind of like your girls, just dancing around, getting the family together, right?
Yep.
Sing, I'm sure.
Yes, absolutely.
You're sticking out like that. So sweet. So the mom and dad, they were prime suspects for a long time. And since then, their names have been cleared. I really scoured their faces, trying to find any kind of sign that they could possibly be murderers. I found no sign that they could do that. That it's just not in their face. It's not in their physiognomy. John Ramsey, he's a cunning and cutthroat businessman. That's in his face. I mean, he's going to get what he wants at all cost in business. That is in his face. He's more of a thinker, ponderer. Patsy is the opposite. She's materialistic. She's about looks and earthly things. She just really so many different features in her face pointed to just materialistic pleasures and treasures and things of the earth. And that's so much a part of her face. I didn't see anything murderous in her. A tendency to have a short fuse and a short temper. Absolutely. That's in her. She does have some features in her face that are selfishness, kind of bribing people to do what she wants, wanting to kind of control others. And it's interesting because you see her in a lot of the interviews. She's the one that's talking. She's the one that's kind of controlling the interviews. And that just speaks to kind of how she is. John is more sit back and think about things. And she's a faster reactor. She's just reacting fast. I could see that getting a little bit messy with kids because both of her kids, if you look at their son Burke too, both kids had a lot of energy and would have been just really kind of a handful. And she has a short temper and really wants things to be perfect. And that would have been difficult. But I don't think really that much above and beyond what everyone else deals with their kids. She had appearances she wanted to keep up. That's very clear in her face. Yeah. Just like you were saying, that classy, meticulous, make everything look great at all costs. That's in her face. It gets messy though. We had this, like, as I was studying this case, it's like people were coming. I guess it's because it was just the 90s. I don't know if police officers just hadn't figured the crap out yet. I don't know what's going on.
Or just the area they lived in, they sucked. I don't know.
Right. Was it Boulder? I don't know. It's like all these, so the Ramseys, she's missing. They invite all their friends over to help comfort them. And then they start looking around the house. They find her, their friends are there. John picks her up, brings her upstairs from the basement. The body's been moved a couple times. Then they put another blanket over from a different part of the house. And then people are walking over the crime scene where the body had been. It was just turning this big mess. And that's part of why they are like, I don't know if we'll ever solve this case because it's been so tampered with.
Yeah.
What I find super interesting about it though, is that there's something so odd with Patsy. And I don't know that we'll ever know what's going on with this because her name has been cleared. Her name is cleared and she doesn't have the features in her face, in my opinion, to have murdered anyone, especially her daughter. But if you look at body behavioral analysis and body language analysis and experts like that, they're talking about how when she speaks, it's very incongruent. It's just incongruent in the way that she speaks. Also, there's so much arrogance in her that I think that when you watch the interviews, it would be easy for the police or the detectives to be like, I don't like her. I don't like her. And she's not showing the amount of emotion that I want her to show, given the fact that her daughter has been murdered. And so I think there's that going on in there but it's just her really fighting for appearances, really trying to clear her name. Right. I don't know, but there's something, it's almost like, does she know something? And I get the feeling like maybe she knows something. I don't know. The other thing I was looking up her handwriting, and they did a handwriting analysis. And I'm going to pull this up.
This is crazy.
So fascinating. It's fascinating. So if you haven't read this book, oh my gosh, you just won't be able to put it down. If you're into this kind of stuff, Sex, Lies, and Handwriting, amazing, phenomenal book. In the book, they do an expose on the ransom note, which is one of the key pieces of evidence in this case. And handwriting analysis, experts are saying nobody writes a 3-page ransom note. That's just bizarro. That does not happen in the world of crime. If you're gonna write a ransom note, it's like, took your daughter, want money, contact at this time. Do not talk to cops, right? Like it's usually very short, like tiny little paragraph.
Yeah.
Just a 3-page ransom note.
I know, it's the weirdest thing.
Right? It's so weird. And then to top it off, they have all the suspects, including the parents and everybody, give handwriting samples because they're just like, what is going on with this? This is crazy. And as you can see, we have Ransom Note, and then we have Patsy Ramsey. And in this book, it shows there's many more samples, but I just picked this one because in the world of handwriting analysis, this is so rare to have your handwriting match up, like the little curves. I mean, if you look at the top line, that uppercase I, the I on the top and then the I on the bottom, that's too close for comfort to me. I don't like it, makes me uncomfortable. And this isn't a smoking gun. It's not a smoking gun. And I just don't think she did it, but it just makes me wonder what was happening. Who did they know? Did they know who was involved? Were they like wrapped up in some sort of weird cult or something, which kind of ties into like the next kind of twisty places this go. And hey, I'm so interested to see what you think about these couple of suspects that we'll pull up next. But I just wanted to share this because I just thought it's just interesting. And
it is. It's strange. The whole thing is so strange. And how have they, I mean, because the crime scene was just so messy. It's all these years, like how has somebody not been convicted of this? It's right. How? So then about 2 months after, so Patsy Ramsey passes away of ovarian cancer, it spreads to her head, passes away of cancer. And then 2 months later, this guy comes on the scene, right? John Mark Karr. And I showed this picture to Haylie and she was just like, ugh. That's how I feel. I'm just like, I can't even look at him. That's how bad it is.
I want to know what you're thinking. Because from a reading perspective,
so I just saw this man's face just before we started the Zoom. So I don't really know anything about him except for Lori just said that he said he was a suspect or something. So
yeah, he came out and said he did it and then gave gruesome detail about how he did it. But they didn't find his DNA on Jonbenet. And so they were like, you couldn't have done it. And so he's a little crazy. I just thought his interesting character, also his handwriting analysis fits even closer than Patsy's does, which is like a needle in a haystack in handwriting.
Okay, that's crazy. When he does fit my description as well of the white, like youngish, male Caucasian with the same color hair that I saw too. But let me just see what I pick up from him. Okay. What's coming up? The first thing, I do not like his energy. It's making me feel sick. But first thing I'm seeing is really weird sexual habits, weird things, like weird that are not normal. Not normal, like desires, like weird fetishes, strange, not even just like kinky or gross, but like strange. So I'm picking up on that. I'm also picking up on like a real, everything's untidy, everything's messy. With his like environment, he feels slob-like, like slobbish is what I'm getting. Really like doesn't take care of himself either is what I'm also picking up on that. Let's see. I do see something strange with his parents as well. Like maybe he was neglected as a child, or there's something that there's like not enough care. He felt like he was abandoned somehow, didn't receive a lot of the things that he needed. He almost feels like a product of his environment from when he was young. There's the whole nature versus nurture thing with him. It feels like it was nurture that messed him up. So I'm just assuming he feels messed up to me, to be honest. So I'm getting that. I almost wonder too, I don't know if there's anything for this, but I feel like he may be smart in very specific areas, kind of how some autistic people are, like they know numbers really well or certain things really well. I feel like he may have a connection to like mathematics and science, where he has a smart brain for those kind of things, but then I don't know that he used them but I see him spending, like when I tune in, it's like I see him spending long hours in front of a computer, not doing any kind of like good for himself. I see him staying up late. It's weird the things I get. I don't know why I'm getting this. I see him like not sleeping, staying up super late, like on the computer, feeding his weird fetishes and bad habits, and then like sleeping in really late, eating crap food. Like that's his lifestyle in a nutshell. And I see him also being a user of like other people. So using other people to get what he needs. He's like a taker, you know? So
Gosh,
yeah.
it blows me away what you pick up. So I'm going to back up everything that you just said real fast.
Okay.
It's beautiful what you just did. So if you look at his eyebrows and how close they are together, this is someone that hates authority, already is a deviant with authority. Add in the fact that he's got this, if you look at his chin, you can barely see it, but you can really see some defined musculature. That's a person that's having murderous thoughts on the regular. Now, some people who are nice people think about strangling the person in front of them or mowing them over with their car.
Yeah.
They're going to have a balance of good features and a muscular chin. It's not just going to be like, you know, I mean, like, I'm sure Carrie Underwood has a muscular chin, right?
Think before he cheats.
Yeah, before he cheats, right? I'm sure she has a muscular chin.
Whenever you say this stuff, I'm like, hold on, Lori, do I have that in my face? Like, do I have that?
Well, we'll have to have a chat because I mean, it's so people, yeah, you can have that and think murderous thoughts and not ever even say them because you have all these good features that, you know, come in and balance it out. He does not. So muscular chin, very well spoken, which means he would be able to talk people into doing the things that he wants them to do. He has motives inside that are twisted and sick, and his fantasies inside are very real. And so he's going to do whatever he can to get those motives. Hedonism all over his face, which is just that primal urge to just for sex and food and like those animalistic urges. We see that in his ears. If you look at his ears, at his ear lobes, do you see how they just jut forward like that? Very odd looking. These people that have this tend to have our sexual issues, fetishes. Sometimes it's just a really hardcore, intense porn addiction. But the more addicted to porn, the more fetishy and weird it tends to get. It's like it's not enough unless it gets weirder and weirder and weirder.
Yeah, he's definitely weird is what I'm picking up on for him.
Yeah. And the earlobes will start to point forward like that. And that along with the puffiness in his low lips, the puffiness in his eyes, which is also hedonistic. Then we got these deep temples that sink in. This is a preference for people that have this. They want to be in an altered state of mind. For him, it's drugs. I have it. For me, it's meditation. I'm always, some people, they never are present. They're always in the past or in the future. So they might have it a little bit.
Yeah.
Drugs, escape, altered state of mind. And then cruelty, those cheekbones that jet out to the side, cruelty. This man is capable of hurting people. Yeah. This man is 100% capable of hurting people and probably has hurt people. I don't like it at all. This is a guy I would, if I saw in the grocery store, I'm going the other direction.
Yeah, I'd like run as fast as you could. I'm having a hard time even having his picture on my screen for this long because he's making my stomach turn.
Well, let's pop it off of there. Okay. I just want to bring him up because I thought so strange that he came and he said that he did it. I mean, he's got this long nose, which is somebody who is ambitious and wants other people to see him. And I think he's just kind of a, you know, he's like a smart psycho wackadoo. It's like he's smart in his way of being psycho.
Yeah, exactly. Totally.
Totally. So, all right. So then, and I know you know more about this because this was in the documentary that you.
So this is Scott Carruthers is the one that when we were talking about, I can't remember her name now, but the lady that was in prison who thought her ex-husband may have been connected, or she was also knew of this cult guy who lived on the East Coast, but had multiple wives and like had young girls, something with pageants, and they had been in Colorado. I think it was like his old driver said he was like crazy and could have had somebody, he was capable of having somebody carry out a murder. And it is interesting. Like I see that. I don't see that he could carry out a murder himself, but there's something about like organized weirdness, crime with him that I pick up on. And I don't know, just that whole thing when I was watching that documentary and how I got that lady's initials and she was in prison, it all just felt strange to me. It's definitely curious and something maybe to, look into. I know they looked into it a little bit, but maybe even further. But yeah, I'm just, let me see what I pick up on with his energy. And it's probably hard for you to read his face in such a blurry photo, but
Yeah.
What I pick up on when I just read his energy is he feels very, 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 very selfish. He feels like he only cares about what his needs are when he wants it. He does feel very controlling to me. There's just something about I do think he has that, whatever that thing is that cult leaders have about wanting to be king, thinking so much higher of himself than he actually is. And needing people to feed that want to be on a pedestal. I don't know that it's as dark, as twisted, but there's obviously something super weird and off, and it feels like he thinks way higher of himself than he should. And there is something that's almost like he would do anything to get that adoration and love from other people. Not even love, just feeding his ego, feeding his whatever, whatever it is. That's kind of what I pick up on with him.
Yeah.
He feels like, I have to say too, he definitely feels narcissistic, like he has no empathy for anything. So
yeah, I'm picking up on that too in his face. His eyebrows are really short and kind of sparse, which is just that selfishness in face. That's a selfishness trait. And it looks like his chin is kind of pushed back, which is somebody who is just really dominated as a child. And sometimes when people are really dominated as a child, but they have a God complex or a big ego, it comes through later in life, as a way to counteract that domination. Yeah. So I see.
Yeah, domination's a good word for it. Sometimes it's so hard to put energy into words. And so that's a good word. Feels like he has the need to dominate others.
I thought his sex cult was this guy has a sex cult. And so I thought it was so interesting what it was.
Did in the 90s, right?
Oh, okay. Yeah, did. And it was called Beta Dominion Xenophilia. And I was like, what is xenophilia?
Yeah, what is that?
A love of foreign things or people. But then you told me that he's got some alien. He was telling people that him and his wife were aliens. And so I'm like, oh, is it a way of saying love of aliens? I don't know.
Yeah.
I thought it was interesting though.
You all should watch the Hulu documentary because he thought he was an alien. And so they all were had this mothership. And he used similar words that were in the ransom note. I think it was truth or trust or something over and over. And the initials at the end match up with his initials with the word truth or something in between. And then he thought that we communicated through cats, that cats were aliens, or so there's some weird thing. And he had all these wives and people that just flocked to him and followed him. So I don't know. It's hard to just
wackadoo.
Yeah, it's hard to ignore things though. I don't know. So
yeah. So, with this case, I mean, gosh, she's just so adorable. There's just so many factors. I don't know. I think I'm excited to see as the future happens, what comes together. I really hope that those tips that you gave get out there.
Yeah.
That's what needs to happen, right? The right person needs to say something.
Yeah.
Because somebody knows something. Somebody knows something.
Exactly. I do feel like somebody knows something, and I don't know that it will ever be solved, but I feel like there's going to be something in the next couple of years. It's going to be a new bigger lead, or it will be almost has it solved, or they think they really have a close something to it. So yeah, I also want to mention, just when you were reading John and Patsy's photos, there was something that was coming through. It almost felt like from their parents on the other side, about Patsy's mom in particular. Well, both of their parents actually, I feel held them to very, very high standards and expected perfectionism from them. And I actually think that with their own children, they tried to reverse that to an extent, and not Patsy's definitely materialistic, but I think that the standards that she was held to, I feel like she tried to not be as harsh as like her own mother was maybe. Because I almost feel like I'm hearing like sorry for that. And I think that they were both kind of a product again of their upbringing. John's family, I don't know if he has a brother, but I feel like there's another male in his life that was like the more outgoing one, the one that was kind of getting in trouble. And I just feel like they were always told to, just like stay in line. And I don't know, like he probably made a lot of money because that's what he was told to do in his life by his parents or something. And same reason why like Patsy outgoing and loves to be the center of attention, but I just feel like there was a lot that was expected of her all the time. So it was just, that was coming into my mind as you were talking about how she appeared on cameras and everything. I thought that was kind of interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. That
So,
is interesting. Are there any other messages coming
yeah,
through? Yeah.
Anything else that they want to mention? I feel like I'm just hearing a big thank you to all the people that are still alive. People that you never hear about too, like there's actually specifically a woman, I feel like almost like a woman detective or somebody like that they're wanting to say thank you to, because there's people that have not given up on trying to find the truth to this. And I feel like there's a woman that is on this case that feels like she's very close to unlocking some things, uncovering some things. And she doesn't feel like she's too old. So I don't know if she's been on it from the beginning or got into it like later on. That would feel more like this to me, but I just feel like I'm hearing thank you for not giving up and for keeping their spirits alive all these years too. It's been a long time, and they're happy that the family has moved on and found happiness in areas, and just know that they won't ever forget them. I would just want to see if there's any other like messages or signs or symbols that they want to bring through. I keep seeing white birds too for the family. So to just see white birds, I feel like they're also going to show them to me too, to say like, thank you. But I see that as a sign or symbol from them as well. Moving forward, just to say that we're with you. So yeah. So as always, I want to thank the spirit world for showing up and bringing through any of these messages. I hope they help. I hope this was entertaining to watch and brought some new insight into the case. So thank you so much, Lori, for your amazing insight.
Thank you. You're amazing. I just like, it's so funny. It's the downloads that you get, and then the way that it's like, it'll be the next thing I'm going to say. And you're just downloading it from spirit, and it just blows my mind. So happy to have you in my life.
Oh, you too. Yeah, this is
happy to be doing this.
You're so talented. So yeah, I just hope these messages mean something to somebody out there. So thanks all for watching. Also, please subscribe to our channel. Lori and I are going to keep doing cases. If there's a case that you want to see done, message me. Follow my Instagram, Haylies-Spiritual-Connections. And Lori, what's your Instagram handle?
At Modern Hypnotist Lori.
Yeah. And so go follow us there. We do retreats. I teach intuitive courses, all the things. We have a membership where we read my prison membership where we read photos. It's a support community, and it's amazing. So go check all of that out. This is
if you think you have talent, if you think that you have some mediumship abilities and you want to open up and get to those abilities, that's what Haylie does. And I've been helping her retreats, helping to use the talents that I have with hypnosis to help clear those blocks so that people can become more intuitive. And then Haylie's teaching a mediumship, and it's just fantastic. It's like Disneyland for the soul.
It is. And one more thing on that is, so many people think that you have to be especially talented to learn how to do this, and you don't. You can be anybody, and we are all born with intuition, and you can strengthen it. And that's what I teach, and I would love to help you get more in tune. So yeah, just reach out to me. Thank you so much, Lori. This was fun. And thanks everybody for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. Okay, bye.